Welcome back to Good to Geek Out. Doing something different today. No, not different. Same thing, but it's transformed into season two. Earthrise.
Ah,
Transformers. That's
see
what we're
what you
doing.
did there.
Thank you. Editor San
Yes.
Antonio here with my boys, ready to talk about Transformers. We already did Siege. Now we're doing Earthrise. What up, peeps?
What up? What up? What up? Big Greg from West Hills, Cali.
Up. This is Omar from Gardena. Hopefully, we're recording.
That's never going away.
San Francisco, double checking on that recording.
Robert Luce coming at you from Phoenix, Oregon, rising from the ashes.
Yes, we are recording. Let me throw it out now. All right. So when we left Transformers last, the space bridge incident had happened. And so now we're dealing with the repercussions and the aftermath of that at the beginning of Transformers Earthrise. First, the opening scene is Decepticon on Decepticon, and Autobots are saving Decepticons from prison.
Ooh, and somebody is dope with the sniper.
And my girl she's nice.
Sniper shot, and then you just see it's done very dark, so you don't know really what's going on, and then you realize there's four Autobots there saving a bunch of Decepticons being held captive by other Decepticons. The first part of this trilogy made us question what an Autobot and Decepticon is, and right off the bat, here we are again. What is going on? What is what? What does your symbol mean?
Factionless.
Faction, yeah.
Doesn't matter. I feel like they were like from the get-go, this is gonna be Chromius time. They let my girl shine, man.
Man, it's funny because I really, it's all of the things that we review. I really love how they have these similes, between this animated cartoon and these social justices in life. One of my favorite lines, episode 1, was when Alita was talking about freedom being the right of all sentient beings, right? She didn't care about factions. She doesn't care about political parties. She doesn't care about race, right? That's why she's like, I'm just gonna free everybody. And if I die, I die.
Give us
but at
free.
least, you know what I'm saying? At least I know I did the right thing.
I definitely agree with you and think that in the opening scene, I mean, we'll get deeper into it later when she has her back and forth with Meg. But they really nailed down the difference between ideology and ideas and execution, and how you do that, how you get to the end point matters. And so just already off the bat, taking this two factions and splitting them up, and then throwing in these gray areas that, again, I 100% agree with you that they're purposefully parallel in the sense of Jetfire as a stand-in for a MAGA who is no longer
right
on that side, being like, but
still a Decepticon, but he's an Autobot, but still with the same sentiment of a Decepticon.
Exactly. Like, we only got to look out for ourselves. We only got to do this.
For sure.
So the ideas of them going in and her high morals, it was a really solid action-packed intro.
The great part about that was the juxtaposition of her now being the leader and having to deal with complaints when she was the main annoying person. and now she got to deal with somebody acting just like her.
Yeah. So that's something I wanted to, that's a point I was going to bring up, because you bring up Jetfire, we talk about Jetfire and Alita having that convo. The first thing he said made me like, man, I just talked about this when we reviewed the last one. All right, so first thing he said to her was, I didn't want to cross you in front of everybody else, but I did want to talk to you. Where Alita was openly, it's like, no, this motherfucker didn't. Whenever Optimus Prime did something wrong, bro, she was on his helmet right away. She didn't care who heard it. Jetfire, understanding this is a sensitive situation, I'm going to holler at you behind closed doors. And you know, even his last statement to her as he walks away was, "Well, I've said my piece.
And
I've given you my opinion."
It's the military in him, and I think that's what's dope. Like we're elite, as opposed to the guerrilla forces, the loose association that the Autobots seem to be with just whatever Optimus says goes. Like Megatron has like a system, like they are an army, and so Jetfire's still on some like, all right, well, like that's on the record. You put that shit on the record when this shit fucked up.
Business.
I like to go do my job, but
I have one question I don't know if it's just me. From the beginning, Megatron's voice seemed to drag on a little bit. I don't know because I want to go back and watch the first one, but it was bothering me. It was just the way he was dragging his letters. And it seemed like, are they trying to make him depressed or something? Or what?
Okay, so I think they touched on that in the second episode.
I completely agree with Omar there, and it's a nice segue into that. The next open with the Decepticons and his soliloquy, as you wanted to say, like he's talking and he sounds depressed. He's lost for all intents and purposes. He's trying to find a way to win. And then he's like, "You're the only one that understands me." And then it's Magnus's head on a table the whole time. So he's only talking to like somebody he's killed before. I thought that was a great move on their part.
I 100%, and this is why I say soliloquy. I was like, oh, this fool's going fucking Shakespeare on this. This is a Globe Theater production, and then at the end, showing that skull, I was like, oh, they just fucking went Hamlet. They were just like, so I must say, like, and with the ghost, I mean, there's a lot of Hamlet things that actually come in here in the sense of the ghost of father's past and all of that as we move into the second episode. But I 100% agree with you, Lucy, that the staging of the drama of that scene was, you know, it fucking highlighted Megatron, and he's in a room by himself. He's his own bottle episode.
Sector 12. All of that leads to Sector 12. Lucy, were you about to hit on that?
We're not there yet.
I was about to hit on that and what Shockwave has to say, and it was kind of a juxtaposition of Shockwave's just that single yellow eye as is behind Omar, and is like, you know, more sinister and like Dr. Mangala.
I got it because I almost realized it. He's like, Megatron, I wish I had your lack of emotion. And Shockwave's response, deleting my emotions was the most logical way for me to increase my efficiency. Right. And like when he said that, I was like, okay, because as soon as he said, he turned right back around and started typing again.
What's up on Shockwave's face there is great, because we know as like people who watch TV, like when you do that, that's supposed to be like the shifty eye thing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a shifty eye, like his eye color didn't change or anything. I was just like, it was
like almost like a snake. He's always like emphasizing the S's. Yes.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, he just reminds me of Desaad. Every time I see him, that's Darkseid's evil scientist who always got something planned. He really wants to kill the Emperor. He wants to kill Darkseid, but he can't. You know, like that's what he reminds me of. And he always got something up his sleeve. You can't trust him regardless.
Yeah, just also something I wanted to bring up from our last review of Siege that Omar brought up, which is Megatron's descent into madness. And this is kind of highlighting, I think he realizes he's slowly slipping, so now he's trying to slow it down a little bit. Maybe he wasn't in the first part, but now you can visibly see him, like, for example, when he goes to visit Sector 12 later on in the episode, he's trying to actually put faces to things before he pulls a trigger, which most megalomaniacs would not do. So
I actually have a dissenting opinion on that. I don't think he's slipping into madness. I think he's slipping into humanity. I think there's a difference. We keep judging Megatron based on what we know his behaviors on Earth and Gens 1 and 2, what we know. And so that's how we're judging him. So we're saying he's going mad because he's doing things that are really against what we know to be his typical character. But actuality, like the fact that he wanted to visit Sector 12 before he just destroyed it, the Megatron we knew in Gen 1, 2, in the cartoon series and would have just been like, oh, we need that for this, for Project Nemesis, bam, cut them off. But he didn't want to go that fast. He actually wanted to go see first. I think it's some sort of humanity, and this goes towards them trying to blur Decepticon and Autobot and what we perceive as good guy versus bad guy, which we have as a common theme on a lot of the stuff that we review. Good guy versus bad guy gets blurred.
And the difference between Shockwave's underhanded dissent versus Starscream's being highlighted in the two different ways, because Starscream's so happy when Megatron gives him praise. I swear he wanted a hug. I think
I saw that too.
He came in so gangster. Megatron, what up? It's your preeminent warrior. That was dope. I was rolling with that whole time when he walked in.
But I will say this about Megatron, regardless of them trying to blur the lines a little bit and give him a little humanity, he still was quick to make the decision like, nah, murk them all. He's a mass murderer. Like, there is no blurring the lines with that.
Yeah.
And I know how TV has over the last 20 years have tried to make the bad guy, the anti-hero and all that. Megatron just wanted a reason. He wanted to go down there and get one reason. He got his reason and was like, all right, cool. Y'all done.
The reason to
screaming about Megatron.
I agree. I disagree. I think he was looking for a reason to not take them offline. He didn't want to have fewer Cybertronians. He didn't want to he doesn't want to rule over.
He had all types of reasons. But there was people down there working hard for him. They were loyal Decepticons. And
wait
he
a
was
minute.
like, nah, bye.
8%. There were 8% of the workers alive.
But I want to say that I think that the difference is from him being a quote unquote mass murderer and not giving a fuck. Like, he could have gone back to the base and killed them, but he stops and he hears them. It reminded me of Ned Stark at the beginning of Game of Thrones, and he's like, the man who gives the sentence has to swing the sword. And so he's there listening to them die.
You are
and they are screaming.
Eddard Stark with Megatron. Like, that's a stretch for me. I'm sorry. This dude is I get he may struggle with it. You still made that decision. That's a cold decision to make.
I mean, but the way that we're arguing about this is the same way I think that struggle's going on in him, because the arena, which at the end of this episode we find out what Project Nemesis is doing, not what it is yet. The arena that brought him glory, brought him leadership, taught him to be who he is now sucking everything that he's ever wanted to be. So
it's now a beacon for ingenuity.
It's just trying to survive now, and which they were when he was in the arena as well. It's just a interesting dichotomy that now he's taking his own people out instead of trying to free them, but still using the same rationale somehow. And that's the end of episode.
Well, the conversation he has with Alita at the end, he's like, he's justifying it by blaming it on Prime.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's not me. I want to be doing this if Prime was.
He got me. He got me. Hey, he got me. I was shaking my head like, damn, Prime. Right. Yeah, you're right.
Because remember, last time in the first one, I was like, well, nothing happened. Prime didn't destroy Cybertron, but I didn't know what the consequences were going to be in this time. So it wasn't that Cybertron was just going to get destroyed. There was going to be no more Energon, and they live off Energon. Maybe if they stopped making those tactile flags, they would have more Energon.
Right. You got to give them jobs. Those are jobs, man. Those are jobs. You don't want to take those jobs away. Last thing you need are Decepticons with too much spare time. You got to.
I can imagine EDD on Cybertron is even slower than here in California. Hey,
now that I'm thinking about it, he almost is like, Optimus Prime left us here to starve to death, and their option is it's basically cannibalism, is what they're going through, and he's okay with it.
I mean, I also think it's interesting for the people that are like us, that grew up on Gen 1 and are familiar with Gen 1, Gen 2 and the comics and all that kind of stuff, that this all still fits into the mythos of everything. We just didn't know how his war destroyed Cybertron or how, the sides. I like that. It's still playing in.
It made me think that perhaps a last man standing battle to the death isn't the best way to run a government on a planetary scale.
Yeah.
Definitely not. We
This
might
is not as
don't know.
deep. But I just want to bring up something, man. This has to do with Omar's boy Jetfire. The scene where he comes flying out of nowhere and destroys the Seekers. Bro, I was amped. He came like he just came in and all of a sudden it was just like a giant sword and guns, and he was like, I got this. He took out all the Seekers and then landed with the superhero land. I was like, okay.
The first thing I thought of was Chromia and Jetfire need a spinoff.
Man.
Them two together can kill everybody.
That would be dope.
Yeah, little Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah,
Right.
we don't talk about the animation as much as it deserves to be talked about on the show because the story is actually really, really strong. But it really reminded me like how much I hated CGI in the 2000s. Like I just I couldn't watch Beast Wars, things like that. And I was watching this, and when the Jetfire scene happened, and just the fluidity of his combat, like he's like, I fight in the air. Like this is like what I do. Well, when the third one takes off, and then the animation of him transforming and bolting right out,
yeah,
I was like, "Ooh, that shit is dope."
Yeah, right. I'm glad one of us could fly.
That alert was on the jock, man.
All right, so episode 2, we finally get to what happened to the Autobots that left through the space bridge. Autobots on the Ark boarded by mercenaries. 5 voices heard that hired them. That can only be so many people, right?
That went so fast.
Yeah.
That shit went so fast. I thought that was dope. In the sense, it reminded me, and I'm sure that's what they were going for. It reminded me of the very first episode of Transformers, and like we find them, blacked out on the Ark and coming, and so like there's this middle story that seems in flawlessly. Seeing the mix of Autobot and Decepticon, but with everyone with a twist, like Bug Bite, Thrust and Dirge. Like
I kept rewinding and pausing that little symbol. It looked like some sort of mixture, like the mercenary symbol. It was a mixture, right? Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, I looked it up. I couldn't find anything. I found the original like symbol for whatever they used to be, which was the Autobot and Decepticon symbol together. And then I guess when they factioned, they kind of took pieces of it. But that one doesn't look like a Maximal or a Predacon or anything too much. It kind of looks like a monkey by itself.
Yeah,
it looked just like a monkey.
Yeah.
The rollout of the mercenaries was hella dope. Just like they had a swagger. They had a swagger that the Decepticons and the Autobots have never had. And they liked what they did. Like not everyone clocks in and does a job that they liked. Like everyone on that
they was with it.
What they did.
Where's the honor amongst thieves? Oh yeah, we sold it to the highest bidder. That was dope. Like, I was like, this one got comebacks.
He knew better than the Geek.
Have the Wreckers ever had a symbol?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they also have like some kind of Autobot knight, or a Cybertronian knight, and it's kind of like the Autobot symbol extended skinny. They have a couple weird.
Is that from the last night?
I hope not, because that shouldn't be canon. Lucy,
yo,
what do you think about Alita 1's plead to Megatron?
I thought their conversation was pretty amazing. It like Megatron's like, hey, we want the same thing. We're going about it different ways. And you would have gone with Prime if but you care about Cybertron, and that's what I care about. So we care about the same thing. So I need you by my side. I need warriors. And you're like, hey, I sacrificed a few, but I'm not sacrificing you because you're a warrior and you're a leader. Join me. And she's the first time she's like, no, but they we're jumping a little ahead, I think. But the second time they kind of leave it hanging out there like,
Well, he was putting his bid in. He was trying to holler. Okay, you was fine. But you fine. Come holler at me.
because they end up shading in some of the background because she's straight up like, yo, like I respected you so much when you were in the arena. Like,
Right.
really build up the world a little bit more and make us again look at Megatron through a different eye set. Like an Autobot was like, this is a dope dude who I'm willing to follow. And when he hits her with the maybe you should have been the leader of the Autobots line, I was like, oh, Megatron is. But what I noticed in that scene was Megatron was appealing to a Decepticon and not to an Autobot. To a Decepticon, survival is the most important thing. Ambition is the most important thing. But to an Autobot, to Alita specifically, sacrifice is the most important thing. Giving yourself for someone else is the most important thing. So like he just can't comprehend why she won't get on, which makes Starscream's little pissy moves so fun. I love sassy Starscream. Sassy Starscream is so fucking
Starscream.
Oops.
I did also notice, like, after that scene when it's Megatron by himself again with Ultra Magnus's head, instead of Hamlet, this felt more like Telltale Heart. Like, like it's just talking to him and making all this noise. He's like, shut up. But it's not saying a damn thing to him. You know what I mean? I just, if you're going to bring up Hamlet, I'm going to bring up Telltale Heart.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. Y'all too literary. I was thinking more like Tom Hanks with the Wilson ball.
That works too. On to the ship, which we recognize for
Decius
people as the quintessence ship from the when we first see it, Transformers, the movie.
Yeah, I didn't like it. For me, it was weird. It was a little discombobulated to me. This is the first part where I was like, okay, what's going on here? Because the quintessons were there was always 5 of them, but like, I don't know. It did. I know he was crazy, but like how it got to the consensus was, I don't know, it just seemed so fast forward. Like we jumped, huh?
It was fast. I 100%. It was season 8 of Game of Thrones. Like that was a fast forward button. There's no way that we shouldn't have gotten more of those 5 interaction faces for at least 1 or 2 episodes to kind of have it build up. So that way, when he actually goes through the face shaving, we're like, oh shit, you took that person's face off and that person's face off because you disagreed with him about that and you disagreed with him about that.
Was he really the chain breaker? Was he the one that really gave him the transforming powers? Like, we didn't get any of that. It went from that to, nah, y'all gotta go.
And what I thought was funny too, and it has to have been intentional, is that Bumblebee's all dirty mercenaries. And this fool
is a straight
fucking crack Energon out the back.
He's a scrapper.
Decepticon alleys and shit.
For sure. I don't think I enjoyed the second episode. I don't think it had like as deep emotional tones as the first one, but I did enjoy the episode. The whole thing happened on a ship. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, they could have took that. That could have been 3 episodes.
Right.
If they really would have stretched it out, that could have been 3 episodes, which makes me as a fan excited for what's to come. Because like, if they cut all of this, they cut this to add some stuff later. So I'm like, okay, yeah.
Did you guys notice when they brought down what's the name of the ship?
Nemesis.
The Nemesis. The music they played when they brought it down. It was the Transformers the movie music when Megatron got turned into Galvatron.
Okay.
I know that music.
Takes pencil, must go back, watch movie.
I didn't notice it the first time, but when I watched episode 1 and 2 again today, I noticed it. It was like, oh, okay, see, yeah, they know what they're doing. They are connecting dots and trying to get that memory going.
But yeah, and I thought that the payoff on that was sweet, and they do a good job holding the like this is great highbrow drama, and there's a lot of stuff that can get missed. Like TV doesn't like subtlety. TV doesn't like you to figure things out, especially on an animation level. So they kind of show you how to understand things. Like they pull a scene out and they show you, and then they're like, by the way, like this is how this story is paying off later. And I can only assume that they're doing that setup for a bigger parallel later on of them helping someone out. Because I'm sure that the mercenaries are going to be the equivalent of those guys later on, in the sense of like coming to bail them out when they're in a hard part. Now let's talk about the mercenaries just being on some, I know where the arc is. I heard you were.
They're
Man.
playing all sides.
They're mercenaries.
So yeah, so it ends with Megatron like, I know where they're at. Let's roll, and cut. So
Can y'all help me out with something? Along with that, Lucy, can y'all help me out with something? Am I tripping, or did Megatron start calling the leader Ariel?
He did.
Yes, he did. He did.
What's that about?
It's her old name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember when in the cartoon when they go to the past before Optimus becomes Optimus, and he's still
Orion Pax.
or what?
Orion Pax.
Mhm.
Orion Pax.
Right.
Ariel was her pre-war name. So he was like,
Bet.
he was sliding into the DLs. He was.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I said he was shooting his shot. He was like, look, you chose Prime, but you chose the wrong one. I'm still here.
Megatron's pre.
Yeah. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty, basically.
Yes. Good breakdown. Good breakdown. All right. On that note, that's a pretty decent ending. I think both episodes are pretty solid. We're getting ready for 3 and 4 next. Stay alert. Oh, what did Red Alert say? I'm always alert.
I'm always alert.
Editor, San Antonio, out.
I am feeling a vibe between Red Alert and Jetfire, and I want to see where that goes. Boba Fresh, San Francisco, out.
I really hope there is no vibe. Omar and Gardena out.
Now I gotta want there to be a vibe. Big Greg, West Hills. I'm out.
Hey, Rob Lucy coming at you from Phoenix, Oregon. Hey, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get everybody's opinions on this. See you guys. Great conversation. Till next week.
Bad.
Peace.